Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So we're going to be doing something on the interior of the F80 in this video. Now you guys probably saw me install this steering wheel about a year and a half ago. This is the OEM M2 CS steering wheel. Full Alcantara, beautiful. I also installed a few things on here when I was doing that. I installed the IND Polar Blue M1, M2 buttons. We also did the M Performance carbon trim here, as well as the Auto Technic gloss black insert trim, and then we did the IND Polar Blue start stop button. Now I like it, I think it looks nice, but for me, you guys can tell I'm not a big fan of a lot of color. So the blue looks nice, but it stands out a little bit too much to me. I understand it matches the roundel and everything, and it doesn't look bad, but for me, I like to kind of go that extra step and make it my own. So I told myself if I ever came across an M1, M2 and a start stop button that came in carbon or I was able to paint match or something, I would pick those up. And I came across a company called Carbon Culture. And the company Carbon Culture makes some beautiful M1, M2 buttons. And also here is the start stop button. So it's a little touch that, you know, otherwise most people would just do the red or the blue, but I wanted to take a step further and get rid of the blue and put some carbon in there. I thought that would be a really nice touch. Also, you may be able to see I got a few other things here as well. First off, Carbon Culture, super awesome company. They included a really nice carbon fiber keychain as well. They also included some candy in the little package and everything, so I thought that was really cool. Those are gone. I ended up eating those, but I also ended up picking up this, which is a gloss black front grille badge. So on the front of the car, we got the chrome, which I never was a fan of, and I never understood why on the competition that was chrome. And then you go on the back here, which on all competition models, we got a black badge. So it always bothered me that they were different. So I was like, hey, again, if I ever find anybody that makes a gloss black front grille badge, I would get it. And sure enough, Carbon Culture did. And as you can see, it says handmade, remove, and refit with care. It comes with the double-sided tape already on there, so really, really easy to install. I'm going to do this in a different video because I just want to focus on the interior. But as you can see, the little difference there, very minor. Still got the M colors up there, so you're still going to be able to see it, but I thought that would be a really nice touch, and especially with the new wheels that I have coming, everything's going to look really nice and tie in beautifully. Now you may notice a few other things on the table here as well. These are not from Carbon Culture, but in another video I actually explained that I'm actually going to be replacing the back piece of the steering wheel. On the back of BMW trims, they do this a lot. It happened on my E46 M3 as well. The material that they use on their trim is kind of like a rubberized feel. It's nice, but it doesn't hold up well. And they use the same material on the back of the steering wheel back here. So if you can tell, we got some peeling on the bottom sections right there. And then also on this side as well, a little bit harder to see, but it's right there. I figured we might as well go and have the steering wheel off, so might as well replace that. I ended up picking that up from Turner Motorsports. I think it was like 80 bucks. Not the worst thing in the world, but again, it's one of those things that if we're there, you might as well. Also, you might be noticing what this is. So if you look on the stock steering wheel, the resume button and the mode button are silver. Now, it looks okay. It doesn't really bother me that much, but I was like, hey, if I ever came across a company or I had a replacement to replace these in black, that'd be awesome. And I asked Carbon Culture if they can do it, and they said, yes, we can, but they don't have that in stock, and I would have to send one out. So I started doing some research. I was actually going to purchase another one, have one sent to Carbon Culture so they can paint that. But in my research of finding one, I actually noticed that the BMW i8 came with the exact same steering wheel controls. Same shape, same everything, but the mode and the resume button are in black. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get this, dissect it, take the black buttons off, and I'm going to put it on that one. So I think it's gonna be a little bit cleaner. It's gonna look a little bit different. And I think it's gonna tie in really nicely with everything I got going on. So really simple. As you can see, I've already dissected these buttons or the switches, whatever you wanna call them, off of here. I'll show you how to do it on mine, but I wanted to take these off first to make sure that I knew what I was doing, which is really easy. It's just a couple clips, they pop right off. But yeah, pretty simple. So I did a whole video on how to remove the steering wheel. I'll kind of walk you through it in this one as well. Make sure you disconnect the battery in the trunk. If you don't do that, you're working with airbags, so you want to make sure that you disconnect the battery just to eliminate any potential problems of the airbags going off. So disconnect it there. It's a 10 millimeter. Put a microfiber towel on the negative so it doesn't reconnect by accident, and then you'll be ready to go to get the steering wheel off. All right, so we got the battery disconnected. We got the negative terminal off. Now we're going to remove the airbag. This is probably the hardest part that most people struggle with. If you know what you're looking for, it's very easy, but if you don't, it's the first time, it may take some time. So if you look on the side here, there's a hole right there, and there's the exact same hole on the other side. Inside there is a clip, and when you put the screwdriver or whatever you're using in there, you want to push the clip like this so it releases the airbag. So you're going to need two hands. You're going to push, and then you're going to pull the airbag out on that side. I'll try to get a clip of it so you can see. Sometimes it takes 2 seconds, sometimes it takes 20 minutes. I've done this quite a few times, so it should only take me about 2 seconds. So let me set the camera up so you can see what happens. All right, so a flathead is probably the best tool to do this with, since it gives it some surface area for the spring to touch. Basically, you just want to push. It doesn't take a lot of pressure. You'll feel the kind of push back on the spring. Then once you push it, you want to pull the side that you're getting the spring out off, and then go to the other side and it comes out. All right, so we got the airbag out. Now we're gonna have to remove it from the harness. So basically you want to pull it down, and you'll see a clip, the black clip right there. And there's a little tab. I've actually already removed it. You just take a little flathead and it comes right out. So now that we got the airbag removed, what I like to do is put it far away from the car, facing up. So if it were to go off, it just goes there. If you face it down, first of all, you would scratch it, but also if it went off, you would just go straight through the ceiling. So put it away from the car, away from anything, so nobody gets hurt or injured. If it were to go off, we're good. So now we're gonna hop back into the car, and we're going to see this bolt here. That is what we need to remove next. All right, so this is pretty straightforward. You can use a wrench. I just use an impact to remove it. 16 millimeter, all we're gonna do, loosen it up, and then we can take the bolt out, like so. Now, when you remove the bolt, you will see how this is positioned. So you can see all the teeth there. You can actually see the little notch right here. You wanna make sure that lines up with this notch on the actual steering rack, so everything is aligned when you put it back on. So just take note of that. So before we remove it, there's two other plugs. There's one up here. Just take a flathead, kind of pry it in there. Pops right out. The bottom one here, you want to get underneath and kind of pry it up, and you're able to pull it right out. So now that we got all the plugs removed, we can simply just, let's see if I can do this, holding the camera, slide the steering wheel off, and we're good to go. Also, when you remove the steering wheel, it's gonna look a little funky. You may want to put your hand on here to get out or what have you. Make sure you don't touch this. This is the clock spring. If you move it, it will damage. It will cost a lot of money to replace this, so don't touch it. Leave it as is. All right, so we got the steering wheel on the workbench. Now we're going to be kind of dismantling this entire thing to be able to get to the buttons. And also, as I mentioned, I'm replacing the back piece right here so we can get a little bit better view. There is the peeling on that side, peeling on that side. And yeah, so otherwise it's in pretty good shape. I guess there's a little mark there, but we got a brand new one to go right there with no peeling. We'll see how long that lasts, but again, it's not really that expensive. It's like 70, 80 bucks to replace that. But first things first, we're gonna start removing back here. These are T20s, so we just take a T20 and just start removing the screws. This is gonna remove the buttons. I'm gonna remove that down there, and everything should start coming out. So let's remove all these, and then I'll show you what to do next. All right, so we got the 3 screws removed on the back side. Now if you look in here, there's a couple T20s, so there's one there, and then once you remove that, you'll be able to pull this trim piece off, and we can get to the actual switches and everything. So let me go ahead and remove those. Same kind of thing. So pretty simple, as you can see. Don't be afraid. It always looks so intimidating doing a steering wheel, but it's really not. I've done this quite a few times, so I'm confident in doing this. But if it is your first time, don't be. Just follow my video and you can get it done yourself. All right, so the 2 T20s are removed inside, so now we can pull the trim off, and now we have access to the switches. We've already removed the rear screws back there, which hold these on. Now, if you were just replacing the buttons, that's all you need to do, but I need to remove the whole back plate. I need to remove a few harnesses and stuff that are in the little clips back here. So let me go do that, and then we'll put the back on first, then we'll get to the switch. All right, so we got the old backing removed. This is, go over here. Oh, if you guys are curious, that is the part number for it. But now we're going to throw the new one on. Be really careful, we don't want to scratch this one, obviously. But before we do that, I actually want to do the switches so I'm not pulling all the wires and everything and potentially scratching that up. So if you look on the back of the switches, there's some Phillips head. You just want to remove those, and then you're going to gain access to the little tabs in the back for the switches. Once I get there, I'll show you how to remove them. All right, so I got the backing removed. It's just a little pad. You got some little push pins. So now I have access to the buttons. So if you look in the back here, there are these little tabs. So one there, one there, one there, one there. All you do is kind of pry them out, and then they pop out, and then you can replace the new ones. Also for the resume switch here, there's a couple tabs, as you can see right there, and then there's some little tabs in there. Just got to kind of pry out, and then we can replace the resume button as well. So let me do that. I'll show you one done so you can see what it looks like, and then we'll get this all wrapped up. So pretty straightforward. All right, so M2 button is removed. So we're gonna take the new carbon one and simply pop it in like so. There we go, looks pretty awesome. Now we're going to remove the M1, same scenario. These two little white tabs right there. It's best to pull this one down first, kind of push that away, and then you can get another screwdriver in there. I'm using two really small flatheads, and then it pops right out. All right, guys, not sure why, but my audio cut out for this, so I'll just do a little voiceover. Basically, just showing you that I removed the M1 button, clipped the new Carbon Culture one in, showing how nice it looks, then showing the tabs on the back for the resume button. So took the little clips out, pulled that out, and then I took the new i8 black ones, and I popped them into place. Really simple. Everything fit perfectly, just like OEM, and it looks really, really good. Just make sure all the tabs are clipped in properly. Also, another thing that I recommend doing when you're putting these buttons in, from the factory, they have a little bit of lube on it. So what I ended up doing was using a little bit of dielectric grease, as you can see right here. I just coated the little tabs and put them in just so it kind of lubed everything up and made it look really, really clean. And from here, just kind of showing you the before and after of what the new side looks like compared to the stock side. And I just personally think it looks so much better. All right, guys, steering wheel is complete. We got everything back in place. You just want to make sure the wires are out of those little pins right there where the airbag goes in, where the spring is. Otherwise, everything is good. And looking pretty awesome. Really happy with that. Looks super sleek, matches the car, especially when the new wheels come in. Everything will line up, and you'll get where I'm going for. So we also got the new back piece on, no more peeling. And yeah, looking like a brand new steering wheel. So let's go ahead and toss this back in the car. Carbon looks awesome against the M Performance. And yeah, really happy with that. All right, guys, so we got the steering wheel installed. Everything is working and looking good. So now we're gonna move on to the start stop button. That one's much simpler. I wanted to get this done first. Basically, you just wanna kind of pry here, and then the whole assembly pops out, and then you can get the button. So let me get this out of the car. I'll show you how to do it. All right, so to get this out, you just kind of wanna pry on the top first. I use some plastic pry tools because you don't wanna damage the dash. But I stuck this one on the top, kind of pulled it out, and then I used the skinnier one over here and went on the sides, and it popped right out. And then there's just a little plug you unplug, and the whole assembly comes out. And now we can take it apart, get to the button, and install the carbon one. All right, so I thought I would change it up, get a little bit of different angle so I can show you how to do this. So you want to look in the back here. There's these little clips. Just kind of pull them off using a small flathead. And this whole back piece comes off. Obviously you want to go slow and be careful you don't want to damage anything. One more here. And then this whole back piece comes right off. Now you can see the actual button back here. So if you look in there, there's these two little tabs. you're gonna get a really skinny flathead. What you want to do is basically just pry those little tabs off. Kind of hard to do, but I almost find it easier using 2 screwdrivers. Pull the pins. And then push the button right out. So there we go, button is out. Now we are going to get the carbon one. So we got the beautiful carbon. One thing I did notice is that I don't think this one lights up. As you can see on the back is white here. So, and that is black. But I knew that, not a big deal. So all you gotta do is pop it into place. And then you'll see the little clips pop on. This one didn't yet. There we go. So that is installed, looking really nice. Now we're just going to clip the back on. So the 4 rubber dots go towards the button and the 2 ones go on the top. So you just kind of line everything back up, clip it back into place. And there we go. There is the carbon button install, super simple. And all we gotta do is just plug it back in and pop it right in the dash. You can see these metal clips, that's what holds it in. All right, guys, install's complete. Everything is back and looking good. It looks awesome. I love the black buttons. It really cleans up the steering wheel. It makes it look super unique, super different, very, very me, and really happy with how everything fits and looks. Now, don't be alarmed if you installed this and then your M2 and your M1 and M2 buttons don't work immediately. Don't worry, totally normal. Sometimes it takes a little bit of the car started for them to start functioning again, so don't freak out. When I first installed this with the Polar Blue one, when I did the steering wheel the first time, I was really confused why that wasn't working, but it ends up working once it kind of reconnects and everything. So don't worry. But when I did install this right now, everything just popped right on and it worked no problem right away. It actually saved all my settings and everything, even with the battery disconnected. So really, really cool. But yeah, that is the install of the Carbon Culture M1, M2 start-stop button, as well as a new back on the steering wheel, which looks really nice. Really happy I did that as well. So I confirmed this with Carbon Culture. If you do get the Carbon M1 and M2 buttons, as well as the start stop, they do not light up. The ones that you can get factory paint match, so if I were to get these in mineral gray, they do light up. The reason being is that the carbon inlays are actually so thick, and the resin that they use, it's no light can actually penetrate through the carbon, which makes total sense. So if you are really, really concerned about having light on the M1 and M2 and the start-stop button, go with the factory paint match ones. If you want the carbon, they will not light up. So here's an example. As you can see, the M1, M2 doesn't light up, as well as the start-stop, which to me, not a big deal. I don't do too much night driving, so not too much of a concern. But if that concerns you and it bothers you, definitely go with the paint match ones. But I personally think the carbon ones look amazing, especially paired with the M Performance trim down here. So up to you. Just figured I'd mention that because I don't want to have any questions or anything. Some people get these and they're like, wait, how come it doesn't light up? Just wanted to clear that up. And as mentioned, we have new wheels coming. I mentioned that in my last video, so I'm really excited to kind of get this dialed in and it back to exactly how I want it. And I'm really looking forward to it. Still a couple other little things coming in. We still have the M3 badge that we're going to be installing. If anybody's interested in the Polar Blue IND buttons, let me know. I'll sell them to you. So I'm going to store all that stuff away in the meantime. But yeah, if you guys have any questions at all about the Carbon Culture buttons, there's a tons of other things that you can get as well. They don't just sell that stuff. They sell a ton of stuff. I will say it did take very long to come in. They are from the UK. I ordered these November 5th. It is Christmas is in a few days, so keep that in mind. It does take some time, and as you can see, this stuff is handmade, so it's not like they have this on the shelf. It's made to order, so it does take a little time. Just keep that in mind, but it's very, very worth it. Stuff is high quality, it looks fantastic, and it turns out amazing. So wish you guys a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Most likely this is going to be the last video of the year, so I hope you enjoyed all that we have created with the F80 in 2024. Big, big, big plans for 2025. I hope you guys are ready. I know I am. That is going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.